First of all, I want to take a minute and say thank you to Carlos and Juan. I mean, I know you guys think that stuff is a lot of hours of work, and sometimes you don't get the results you want, and you get aggravated and disgusted. But I can tell you, for our health team, when we come here in AASV, we take that information, go back, and we actually change the way we manage our testing protocols and procedures. So don't feel like your work doesn't go without value. I would tell you thank you. It is very practical to us. We are still struggling to test the wean pig. We have been excited about processing foods now for, a year and a half. But, keep working. I mean, every time we come, we look forward. So I just want to take a minute to say your work doesn't go without a lot of value to our production system. So with that, I thought this would be an easy talk. Caesar says, hey, I want 5 to 7 minutes and some questions on PRRS and how do you decrease the incidence. Of course, I thought, well, that'd be easy. And you start putting the content together. Of course, you get a little, well, what do I really want to say? And then, of course, you ask a team member, and they look at it and go, well, good luck with that. And so it wasn't as easy as I thought it was, just from the fact, we get day-to-day operations of what we do to raise pigs and to keep them healthy and to move on. But sometimes we don't really watch, what are we really changing? And this is a team presentation. I always say at the MASH office, our health service team is outstanding. I mean, it's a young set of veterinarians, and they actually put a lot of time and effort in our operations and protocols and procedures of how do we manage PRRS. And so today I'm just going to share with you what we do. It's nothing earth-shattering. There's nothing here that you probably haven't already heard, but it's just a look inside of our operations. So PRRS the two objectives that Caesar had laid out is kind of, hey, what are you doing with PRRS management, and then what are you doing to decrease PRRS outbreaks? So a little bit about ourselves. We're about 180,000 sows in 7 different states. I always tell people with the MASH off, you never know what that number will be tomorrow. Could be less, could be more. We have 65 plus sow farms, boar studs, truck wash, feed mills, all those things. We have 525 wean to market sites. We kind of break ourselves up in 5 different regions. This is kind of a map of the Midwest. And every different little color there is a different region, but you can see that we're concentrated across the Corn Belt associated with the packers. So one thing I did want to share is our current health status. I feel like our system is a little bit different than most in the aspect of the number of negative sows that we try to run. I started consulting with the organization back in 2002, and we were an organization that really didn't believe in PRRS. I mean, when we broke with PRRS, we worked extremely fast and extremely hard to eliminate it. And, back in 2012 even, we were running 77, 78% naive to PRRS. Unfortunately, those numbers have changed since that time frame, and we have learned, and maybe we're slow learners, but we're learning how to manage PRRS. So today we're about 58% of our sows are negative, and you say that, well, what do you want to be? And I've finally dug into the data and said, well, our goal is actually about 60. And as I get into the presentation, you'll see how I come up with that number. I think the other thing is it's work from groups like this that we are. Well, and I always tell you, never put a set of slides together, because you're going to get a call on a Friday afternoon and that number is going to change. We were 74.1% negative to myco until Friday. That number went down. However, we should have been in November, we'd about a 93% of our system would have been myco negative. We spent a lot of time and effort going through myco elimination programs. So again, this is a graph thanks to Caesar. 2009, this is the PRRS outbreaks as a percent of the farms. So it's just the number of farms that are broke. If you look, we took a huge increase in 2012. We've bounced around, and again, we're trying to decrease the number of breaks. Now, this is not population of animals that are positive. This is just the number of breaks on an annualized basis. All right, PRRS management in our system. We've learned we can't live without vaccine. We've tried. Again, if you look at the history of the MASH offs, we really did not utilize much vaccine. We broke with PRRS, load, close, homogenize, and 22, 24, 25 weeks later, we were back open, and we really didn't utilize any vaccine in our sow herds, or did we use any vaccine in our piglets. Unfortunately, since 2013, we've switched the naive number to more of a 2V number in certain regions. This is kind of our central Illinois region here, but it would match up with some of the other ones as well. Other thing we've looked at here recently is LVI versus MLV. I'll tell you right now, I don't have the answer. I think it's a tool in the tool chest, but when we look at PRRS management, that is one that our closure times have extended, and we have reached towards a live virus inoculation versus a modified live virus. I call it the 174 group. I apologize. That's probably a big group, whether you want to add the 184s and everything that goes with it. But since this 2012-13 mark, we feel like PRRS management is definitely different than prior years. I mentioned closure times. Our closure times has really pretty much doubled in the last 4 years. So in that, we've come up with creative ways, some good, some bad, to try to manage our farms when it comes to closures. At the end of the day, folks, we get paid to hang a carcass on a rail. That's the only thing we got to sell. And so we don't necessarily care if that pig was PRRS positive or PRRS negative when he hung on a rail. It's just how fast can we get him there and at what cost. And so we've really started to look at how do we minimize the costs, maximize the production through a unit when we have a PRRS break. Therefore, we have kind of separated from, I call it day zero. We've created day zero and day C. Day C stands for closure. Those two numbers aren't the same anymore to us. We understand as these closures get longer and longer and longer, we tend to run out of gilts to breed. We tend to run out of animals to breed. I'll stand up here and tell you as well that we continue to work on this process for what is to maximize production, because I think we have to continue to delay our time to go negative and our time to eliminate the virus. But we've probably made a lot more pigs through the process to put in the finishers. The challenge would be is those pigs don't tend to be the most healthiest pigs in our system as well. So we are continuing to look at that model and the economics behind it. I would tell you now we've probably somewhat forced our closures to be longer based on how we're managing and closing the farm. So today we delay our closures to allow entry of gilts. One of our staples is don't miss breed target. A good way to make a farm go broke is don't make pigs. And so we continue to make sure we have enough animals for breeding. Just a sample of a graph in just the last 4 years. I mean, in 2016, most of our closures were 22, 24 weeks. I think we have one recently that gets under 40. I think Dr. Stellick's group, Dr. Amy Mashloff's group, they've had a couple Indiana farms that everything else, folks, is in that 45, 48. Dr. Thompson, he likes to set records at like 50. So it continues to move north to us in an opposite direction that we would like it to go. The other thing on PRRS management is we have what's called EDM plans, epidemic disease management plans, and we modify these every quarter when we get together. Is what can we do to get the virus out of the farms? Again, we separated this day C and day zero. We've delayed McRebel. We found out we can probably save more pigs and really not affect pre-weaning mortality in the first 12 weeks, so we've delayed it. And then the other thing is we've increased the number of gilts we can expose, because we're planning on 45-day closures now, not necessarily 24, 25. All right, so the main topic that I think Caesar was, we've seen a decrease in number of PRRS outbreaks. So what have we done? Well, I'd like to think is we were smart. We made good investments in biosecurity, and we spent a lot of money, and that's why we have less breaks. And so, but I don't have any way to stand up here and prove that it's been a return on invested capital. I would like to think that it is, and I think a lot of the things we do on an annualized basis is, we reevaluate our systems and say, where can we spend money wisely to, a benefit to the farms. So, start with biosecurity. We continue every year to look at new and improved, what you guys present to us, so the universities, what other farms are doing, where can we make improvements. So there's probably nothing up here that is earth-shattering. This is just what we've kind of put and what we, put priorities in doing. So Rendering, we have found that rendering has never been our friend when it comes to disease transmission. Or maybe I should say they're very good at disease transmission, but they tend to cause us a lot of trouble. So we've tried to remove rendering off of all of our sow farms and GDUs as well. I believe we're really close. We do have a few farms that we are rendering, but it's minimal. UV chambers, again, our team has put UV chambers in, actually boxed up windows. You really can't put anything in the farm without going through the fume room or the UV chamber. So no more pass-through windows that open. It's all pretty much, solid areas when you walk in. We call them pocket doors. Any door that opens to let animal in or out slides in a pocket, so there's no contamination. Dead drops, I think removing a mortality out of a sow farm is difficult, and if you've not personally done it, you all need to go try to do it, because it can be interesting to watch how many people get outside the system, boots, hands, what touches the outside world. Our favorite is an elevated platform. Basically, it's on some type of mechanism that'll raise a platform. It hits the door opens, they drop out, and there's nothing that goes, there's nobody touching anything. So stage loading with a buffer zone, I don't know, we need to kind of land on some terminology to this, but to me, these positive pressure ventilated loadouts with, we're danishing our employees in, or actually we have some that, you could potentially have some systems I know that are showering people into the buffer zone. The buffer zone is from when the piglets or the calls enter the chute area. You drop one door, you turn one door, you open the other door, you turn the fan on, positive pressure ventilation. They would load, but that person has to clean, disinfect that area, and then shower back out before they go into the facility. So we don't have a lot of those. I mean, it's not like we've got 65 farms. We probably have 65 different ways that we do it. I'll tell you that right now. But we're accepting this model of stage loading and then some type of Danish entry into the loadout facility. So truck drivers in the cab while on the farm, we've dabbled in this. We don't think it's a bad idea, but we think that it can add risk if you're not careful. And so we are making investments to keep our truck drivers in the cabs. I think we all agree that our people are probably better off loading the pigs on the trailer with, the welfare of the pig. But we know that it's a lot of, do you have outside showers, outside washer and dryers, what we call dirty side washer and dryers? There's a whole lot of areas there that can, increase risk to the farm if you're not careful. And again, we don't have a lot of positive pressure sow farms. We have one. We're learning that that's a challenge as well, but we have continued to work towards more positive pressure sow farms as well. Other things that we've done to decrease outbreaks recently, a lot of separation in our multiplication and commercial operations when it comes to feed, truck washes, truck drivers, trailers, drivers. I mean, we have actually implemented a new tier when it comes to tracking trailers. We used to have 3 tiers. But in 3, we had 3T, 3C, 3 this, 3 that, and everything was a 3 when we got done. So actually, Dr. Stellick, Dr. Mashoff put a lot of time and effort into developing a new trailer classification system. I think we have 8 now. Sounds like a lot, but you start going through a nucleus to commercial to marketing, it's really what you need to dive into all the different classes of trailers. So I'm not saying we have it completely figured out. It's a work in progress for our system. One of the other ones we have is there is no more market trailers that touch our sow farms. We have transfer chutes for culls, and we haven't went to the wean pig model yet. We do have some ideas around that one, but right now we really have went to transfer chute for all culls. I think one of the other things in our system, what really has decreased our outbreaks, is just the number of 2V herds, right? The denominator of this number has changed. So, we've moved to somewhere in that 20% of our farms that were, 78% of the farms were naive, the other 20% were stage 1, so now we're running about 40% vaccinated and hope to have 60% of our farms negative. So it's an economical impact to us to have a PRRS break. It's an interruption in flow. It causes an economical downturn for our company. So one thing we've really done is we utilize the vaccine more. So with that, in conclusion, I would say with PRRS, I've been around a few years in this industry. I will promise you what we do today is not what we will do tomorrow. I appreciate the universities being involved in helping us answer these questions. We're the ones that have to take them back and actually put them in a production system. So with that, Caesar.
Any questions for Dr. Miller?
You get a real doc. You got Tara now.
So I do have one question. So the increase in the herd closure, do you think that's related to that you're testing better and that you're finding it easier?
Yes, I would tell you, hats off to processing fluids. I am pretty sure, in the years I've practiced in the swine world, that we probably opened farms, entered gilts when they weren't negative. And therefore, either we got lucky and they didn't break, or the ones that we called a failed closure. So we do feel processing fluids is one, probably made the time, the closure length it clarified it. However, I do feel there is, with the 174 class of viruses, that our closure times have gotten longer.
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller.
Thank you.